Good morning, everyone. This week's Parsha is Bekhukotai, and it is beautifully written on blessings and curses. And the blessings, so I'm going to read, but then I'm going to move on to the Haftorah because that's what really spoke to my heart. But I need to give it context. If the blessings, starting with verse 3, if you follow my laws from God, if you follow my laws and faithfully observe my commandments, I will grant your rains in their season, so that the earth shall yield its produce and the trees of the field their fruit. Your threshing shall overtake the vintage, and your vintage shall overtake the sowing, and you shall eat your fill of bread and dwell securely in your land. I will grant peace in the land. And it goes on with all the blessings. But if you do not obey me, from verse 14, if you do not obey me and do not observe all these commandments, if you reject my laws and spurn my rules, so that you do not observe all my commandments and you break my covenant, I in turn will do this to you. I will wreak misery upon you, consumption and fever, which cause the eyes to pine and the body to languish. You shall sow your seed to no purpose, for your enemies shall eat it. I will set my face against you. You shall be routed by your enemies, and your foes shall dominate you. You shall flee, though none pursues you. Then shall the land make up for its Sabbath years as it is desolate, and you're in the land of your enemies. And for those of you who survive 7 times sevenfold all of these miseries, for you that survive, I will cast a faintness into their hearts in the land of their enemies, the sound of a driven leaf. And I have an image of dry leaves from before the rain began this morning. Karen, can we see the leaf? The leaves? They're so fragile. They're dry leaves. And the sound of a leaf driven by the wind shall put us to flight, fleeing as though from the sword. They shall fall through, though none pursues, with no one pursuing. With the sound of these leaves, they shall stumble over one another as before the sword. You will not be able to stand your ground before your enemies, but shall perish among the nations, and the land of your enemies shall consume you. I find this so frightful. What a way to live in such fear. And we know people today are living in terrible fear daily. After all of this fear and being pushed into the land of our enemies, then finally, God says, and then I will remember my covenant with Jacob, and I'll remember my covenant with Isaac and Abraham, and I will remember the land. But it requires that we atone. So that brings us to the initial understanding of atonement needed for Yom Kippur and at the New Year. That the crushing of us for not obeying the laws is so complete, and to, even though we aren't pursued, we feel pursued. I found this horrific as I was studying, and I took solace in the Haftorah, which is Jeremiah 16. Blessed is he who trusts in the Lord, whose trust is the Lord alone. He shall be like a tree planted by waters, sending forth its roots by a stream. This tree planted by the stream does not sense the coming of heat. Its leaves are ever fresh. It has no care in a year of drought. It does not cease to yield fruit. And I was reminded of, well, to begin with, I love to go to the trees. Most of us do. And I was reminded of these trees from my childhood, which also go back generations in my father's family. And I have a series of photographs of these trees the last time that my sister and I went together before the land went on to others. But these trees remind me of how we go to seek solace in nature and connect with God through nature, or connect to the universe and with our souls. And the next image, I would often go in the morning, and this is approaching, having gone through a few minutes through woods, and to see this with the stream just over the ridge there. And then the next photo, which is where I want to stay for a while. So this is a very day with a very quiet stream, but sometimes it surges. I know this from memory. But to be planted by the water and by the stream, of course, this connects us to the tree of life. And this time of counting the Oma, we are connecting daily with aspects of the Sphirot, and knowing that we are connected to the stream of time. And this stream connects to other streams and connects to the ocean. So it says in Jeremiah, "Blessed is he who trusts in the Lord, whose trust is the Lord alone." The roots of these trees in the ground over the eons, and our current understanding of ecology is that the roots connect, they connect to each other, and the fungi are there, and there is such a connection between the individual trees, from which the forest remains strong and supports itself and communicates with itself. And I think of us in our congregation of being trees nurtured by our faith, nurtured by the teachings from each other, and we are nurtured by the land, and we are nurtured from the interconnectedness of our roots. Suzanne Simard, the ecologist who did so much to aid our understanding of the forest floor, her understandings were not accepted immediately. I just want to read, before Jeremiah speaks of being like a tree planted by the waters, it says, cursed is he who trusts in man, who makes mere flesh his strength and turns his thoughts from the Lord. So that to be finding strength only in each other without remembering our connection to the universe, to the Lord, to Toyrah, to the tree of life, will make us less strong and will keep us divided. I just want to really feel. I'm asking if we can each maybe, whether eyes closed or not, I sense that everyone here today has a place in nature that speaks to you. And that if you can visualize it for a few moments and understand how it gives you strength through times of despair, which is what the Parsha deals with this week. Times of despair when we fall short, times of despair when our people fall short, and how we can remember our strength. The source of our strength. And the last line of Jeremiah is part of our Sabbath service. Heal me, O Lord, and let me be healed. Save me and let me be saved, for you are my glory. But heal me, O Lord, and let me be healed. Save me and let me be saved. And that is my teaching. Karen? Smooth waters, let us be saved with smooth waters. And that is my teaching.